open that beer right next to the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
Maximum sound intake.
I wanted to make sure everyone knew what I was doing.
Because the opening of a show, beer opening, is iconic at this point and no one would expect it.
Iconic as in we've done it once before. I think the other times we already had beer or drinks.
Well, we also clink glasses.
We clink glasses. It's pretty much understood at this point that we drink while we do the podcast.
And of course, I chose a beer that has like that champagne around the top.
Oh, I just bypass that. I just use the beer opener. It breaks off very easily.
Yeah, I'm being anal now.
Yeah. This
God.
is...
Yeah, you win.
How am I pronouncing this properly? It's Belgian beer, by the way. I don't know why you said it was German.
Did I say German?
You did say German.
I totally meant Belgian. I thought I wasn't looking. I thought it was German.
The German... sorry. It's a Belgian blonde beer.
I gotcha.
It's called Leffe. Leffe.
Leffe.
Never had it before. I've seen it. I know, I've heard of it.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers.
You're a much prettier looking ball than mine. That's
dig
nice.
that.
A little sweet.
I dig that.
Big fan of this. So, my good man, we are here. We are recording once more.
Yes.
We have official artwork on our podcast finally.
Official artwork.
I'll thank the artist again at the end, but Andrea, if you're listening, thank you so much.
Yeah. That was great. I've never been logotized before, you know?
Localized. Waxman, localize it, man. Localize it.
Oh, God.
That's my attempt at a Jamaican accent.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was not a good attempt at a Jamaican accent. I'm sorry.
I feel like the only Jamaican accent I can do is if I yell, and I just channel the Sebastian from Little Mermaid.
Oh, God. Well, if you say... what is it? Is it
beer can?
If you say beer can in English, it sounds like bacon in Jamaican. Is that it?
Is that it? Beer can.
Yeah, bacon.
Oh, sir, can you hand me that bacon? Oh, you want some bacon? What? No, I want a beer can.
Oh, God.
That's terrible. So, in our usual little commencing and talking about shit going on, I'm fucking hooked on Overwatch. I may have preambled a bit and told you this before, but I'm going to make you play around because I want you equally as hooked. Because that game is just amazing. God damn it, Blizzard, why are you so good at making games?
Overwatch is a video game for the non-nerds who are watching.
That is valid.
Listening to this podcast.
Well, actually watching after tonight because tonight's project is going to be exporting all these onto YouTube finally.
Yeah, so you might be watching our faces, like a logo.
Just a still image of the logo. Maybe I'll get a little bit of like a Ken Burns transition.
Ken Burns, so you have something to look at.
It'll move ever so slightly zoomed in towards. Just zoomed into you specifically for no reason. Just every episode.
Oh, no. Oh, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, but no, I was really yes, you're adorable. I want to go back on the logo real quick.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with the artwork that Andrea did on the logo. I like I said, I've never been made into an animation of myself before. Mm-hmm. And first of all, I'm flattered that she made me darker because I'm pale as fuck.
You look super debonair. I feel like the rest of the image would be you sitting in a throne with a golden scepter for some reason. I'm just picturing I'm honestly picturing the Mad King Ryan a little bit from some of the animations. From X-Ray and Vav, another online animation from Rooster Teeth.
Yes.
But I just picture you being very debonair and that evil smile you have going on.
But I'm definitely wearing a kilt.
Oh, totally, yeah. I really want to buy a kilt. Was it you I was talking to about this recently?
No,
it was really drunk at a party. Never mind.
Oh, God.
One of the girls at a party out back, summer, beers, barbecue, wearing a dress and being it's the most freeing thing. It's so good. And I'm I really should get a kilt. But I'll wait till I actually visit Scotland to properly get one. I'll go and get one for real. I
was in Scotland and they have several kilt stores.
Thing is, I know what pattern I would want, or tartan to be exact.
Yeah.
There's officially a Jewish one.
Oh,
have you seen this?
No.
A rabbi in Scotland spent several years petitioning that they should have an official tartan, because all the tartans, all those patterns of the plaids, as you would say, are all from different backgrounds and heritages, and some families have their own.
Yeah.
So a family would have a crest or an emblem, they'd also have a tartan.
Huh.
So they have one for Jewish Scots, which I actually am. So I've always thought it'd be really funny to get it. It's a really nice blue, white, green with a bit of red. It's really nice actually. I'll pull it up for you in a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Very actually, if you want to banter for a second, I'll pull it up for you. So
I mean,
live commentary.
I know a couple people who have kilts. Obviously, our friend Brad.
Of course he has one.
Has a
I don't
kilt.
even doubt this.
A couple St. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to tell the story. A couple St. Patrick's Days ago, we were going out, and it was cold that St. Patrick's Day. It was like minus 15 or something, and it was windy as well, so it was just cold in general. And Brad shows up wearing a kilt. And so, of course, I already had a few beers, and I ask him, hey, Brad, are you wearing that kilt the authentic Scottish way? So instead of just answering me, he turns around, lifts up his kilt. I don't know, am I? And of course I saw a lot of Brad.
Oh, that's an image I didn't need nor want, but I'm weirdly proud of him for doing it. So I pulled it up here.
So that's
it's very
Jewish
traditional,
tartan.
kind of that blue and red, a lot less green than you would expect.
Okay, yeah.
But it gets the blue and white, kind of using the Israeli flag as a theme.
You could definitely see that. You could see.
But I think it's just a really nice pattern, and for currently
nice.
not knowing my Scottish heritage well enough, and part of my trip to there would be discover more of my heritage.
Yes.
So we found out, we knew my grandmother actually came from Scotland, my mother's side, and she passed away not too long ago. But in her passing, we learned a lot more about her from like people coming out and telling us stories about her. And like it turned, like we were always told like she moved here when she was super young. No, she was like 12, 13. Like she was like 4. So when she passed away, she was actually a lot older than we thought she was.
Okay.
Like we had her age wrong for years. We were off at like 8 years almost.
Oh wow,
And she always told us she came here alone. No, she came here with her brother, and she still has 2 brothers back in Scotland apparently who've raised families.
Oh snap! So you got like distant cousins.
Yeah, apparently her father also was allegedly not around anymore when she moved away with her mother. No, still alive and well when they left. So a lot of like weird secrets. Like, why would you lie about those things? Like, you just don't want to talk about them, or is there more to it? So I do plan to go to Scotland one day and discover my my heritage, my history.
That's interesting.
Where my grandmother, her maiden name was McGill, where the McGill name comes from.
McGill.
Yeah.
I go to there.
Mm-hmm. Weird that I live in a city where our most prestigious school is McGill.
Yes. The Harvard of Canada, except now it's third.
Is it third, really?
Yeah.
Behind who?
UBC. U of T is number 1 in Canada, and UBC just passed us.
University of British Columbia?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's out in Vancouver now.
That is correct. Yes, UBC, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it could be anywhere in British Columbia, but yes, it's in Vancouver. I actually visited the campus.
Funny, I have friends in both those schools.
I don't think I know anyone at U of T or at UBC right now.
Isn't Carol?
I think she's at Ryerson.
Right, she's at Ryerson.
She's
sorry,
at Ryerson.
Yes, sorry. But I believe Josh is there actually. Josh was at U of T, wasn't he?
Maybe for his master's.
Maybe.
We'll have to ask him at a certain point. We don't need to get into this right now.
More education conversations.
Everyone thinks I'm Scottish or Irish. I don't know why.
I'm now going to say this out loud. I thought you may have been part Irish. No, you're not.
I'm not. I have no Irish or Scottish in me. But my grandmother was born in England, and she has red hair. That's where the red hair comes from.
That's, I guess, so many people put the red hair and just assume Irish, Scottish. You forget that English has it a lot too.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly where she was born, but what's cool about it is because she's a family member born in the UK, I believe I can get, or it's easier for me to get.
No, we can go over this conversation right the fuck now, because I looked into this.
Right.
With my grandmother being from Scotland, I don't want to see what it would take for me to get, because Scotland doesn't have their own passport, they're part of the UK, to get a UK passport. So first things first, my mother would have to get one.
Oh, wow.
Because it's from the matriarchy line, I couldn't do it. If it was a grandfather, I might be able to skip it, but I would need my mother do it first. Her to apply, we would need, just the amount of proof you would need to go through and dig up and get is ridiculous. But it would cost her, I think we looked it up, and I'm going to double check my numbers, but I think it was about £8,000.
£8,000.
British currency, which is probably around 10 grand.
I would say it's a bit more than that.
Just to apply. Not even like, okay, you're in now to get your visa. Pay us this. Pay us this. We'll look through everything, and maybe you'll get a UK passport. And then I have to do the same thing based on her credentials, and maybe get a UK passport.
I'm not even thinking about a passport, though. I'm thinking about like a temporary visa or something like that.
Okay, temporary visa.
Yeah, no. Passport, yes, that's an ordeal.
That'd be amazing.
An ordeal for any country that you want a passport.
That'd be so amazing, though.
It would be.
UK passport?
The UK passport, and it's Schengen.
That's the Schengen. That's the right term.
Region.
Yeah, you know.
So
this.
you can sort of travel through the EU at your own will, or
you can live anywhere in most of the EU. That's part of the Schengen zone.
Yeah.
Work freely. You wouldn't have to worry about that kind of shit. I mean, honestly, I gotta say, if there's one thing Europe does enough things we all wish they would do over here, but that is one of those things, just being so open.
Yeah.
And just having so much possibility.
Literally, I mean, you've been to Europe, right? Mm-hmm. And you've been, like, through Europe. You haven't just gone to one country.
No, I think now I've hit 5 or 6 countries now.
Yeah, you can legit, I mean, most people take trains or drive.
I mean,
you can walk across the border.
Oh, yeah, no, Paula always tells the story of, I can't remember where she was, but they wanted to go see a movie, and the theater was closer to leave the country to go to the theater and come back.
So you just do that. You can just do that. You can just casually, like, you live in the Netherlands. Yeah, I'm just going to casually walk over to Belgium, watch a movie, come back.
That's it.
Meanwhile, if we want to take a day trip down to one of the closest U.S. cities to us is Burlington, Vermont.
Good old Vermont.
Yeah. You need to...
Home of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, home of Bernie Sanders. You need to get your passport ready. You need to wait in line at the border. You need to answer a shit ton of questions depending on how good of a mood the border guard is in.
It really does depend on the border guard. I've had a few fun border crossings. Like the time we got to the border, we were going to Maine.
Yeah.
Actually, we're going to New Hampshire first. From Montreal, there's, I think, 4 major borders you can get to.
Yes.
One, most people usually go to, it's about an hour away. And then there's like 45 minutes away, the closest one. But then there's one that you won't always go to, a little quieter, a little smaller, usually less traffic, but it's like 2.5 hours away. We get to this border, get in line, there's a few cars ahead of us, a few cars behind us. Paula goes for her passports and pulls out my passport and my expired passport. She had forgotten her passport. So she's like on the verge of tears, gets up to the guy, because there's nowhere to turn around, we're stuck now. Like, we're in line, there's no way out. Gets up to him and she just goes right away like, listen, I'm so sorry, forgot my passport. I brought his and his expired one. I grabbed 2 and didn't realize one of them was the wrong one. Completely my bad. I'll just turn around and go home. And then he goes, but you have a passport. And she goes, yes, but it's at home. I know exactly where it is, on his desk, right on the corner. And he asked, when was the last time we went through the border? And she was like, well, not too long ago, we crossed on Canada Day to do some groceries. Again, the 2 of us. And he's like, can I see your driver's license? And he does some stuff, punches numbers, checks our trunk. Laughs at the fact that I had 4 blue and white shirts on top of all the luggage. Even though Paula is famous for the blue and white, I get made fun of for it. I digress. And let us through. No passport.
I have heard this story before, but it's a great story.
I know you've heard it, but I meant the audience.
Yes, the audience.
You, the audience. You've just been included in a new story.
The royal you.
The royal you? Yeah. Is the royal you a thing?
I mean, the royal we is a thing, right?
I know that, yeah.
I guess the royal you could be a thing, because if you use it in the right way, right?
Mm-hmm. By the way, if anyone was interested in the subject we were just talking about, the Schengen zone, or any of that kind of European travel, I'll say it 1,000 times, look up CGP Gray on YouTube. He does some amazing videos on the subject, including one about the Schengen zone. Brilliant stuff.
I just watched that very recently.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah, I mean,
that's why you knew the term?
I had seen it before, but also, I mean, traveling, because I also had to travel through France to get home. So I had to look up, where do I need to show my passport? Where do I need to do this? Where do I need to do that? And France is not. Is it? Yes. One of the countries that I was traveling to or from was not in the Schengen zone. It might have been Denmark.
I think it's Denmark.
Because I was traveling from Copenhagen, like Brad and I, we traveled from Copenhagen to Edinburgh. So I think there we need to show our passport and get it stamped. Mm-hmm. But up until then, the only place I needed to get it stamped was in Brussels when I came over from Montreal.
But at the same time, like some places, like I don't think you need to, but they request it. Like Germany, I remember going through Germany, I needed my passport. Coming from, Belgium to Germany, I think.
See, I came into Germany by train from Amsterdam.
Oh, so
I left by flight, and they did not ask for my passport.
That's it. I mean, when I did my trip, I'm going back way too long ago now. This was a high school graduation trip. It was 3 weeks. Amsterdam, started in Amsterdam, did Belgium, Germany. I forget the order, but I'm sure someone who knows maps better will know the order because of logic.
Sounds about right.
Didn't do France, did Switzerland, which was fantastic. Interlaken? Oh my god.
Switzerland is definitely one that I need to go to at some point. I still have a list of European countries I want to go to. At the top of my list, somewhat thanks to Game of Thrones, is Croatia.
Yeah.
Dubrovnik.
Somewhere I've also really wanted to go for a long time. I heard amazing stories about it. It's, again, Paula, being the travel nut she is, when she lived in Paris for a year, got tons of time to travel, and of course, being in Europe and traveling is so much less expensive.
So, yeah.
And she would fly with a really cheap airline, which you now would never touch in a million years, Ryanair.
Hey. Yeah, no, I can definitely vouch for the cheap travel. Me getting over from Montreal to Brussels was, I think, $650. Brad getting from Edinburgh to Brussels to meet me was 49 euros.
Jesus. Oh, man, if I could live in Europe, dude, I would in a heartbeat. Like,
same. Even just for a bit.
I'm honestly, I feel bad I'm at the age now where I think like just moving there for like a few years to work would be kind of tough. You're really struggling with that bottle opener. You know you have it backwards, right?
No. Yes.
Like,
I was just trying to see if I had the dexterity to do it backwards, obviously.
I'm just gonna... That was quite magical. Sorry, very distracted by the visual humor you cannot see.
So anyway.
Yes.
Dubrovnik is where the set for King's Landing in Game of Thrones is.
Yes.
It looks absolutely stunning. Every now and then, I actually I followed a Croatia Instagram account, and I followed a South Africa Instagram account, because that's another place high on my list.
Oh, yeah, no, Cape Town is one of my number one locations right now.
Cape Town looks beautiful, and it's cheap.
Dude, they have penguins on the beach.
Yeah, and that's in Africa.
Penguins on a beach. Dude, penguins.
Do you think the penguins swim over from Antarctica?
I doubt it. I'm sure the actual living conditions are different for them there. Like, I doubt they can adapt that way.
Maybe they're emperor penguins.
I don't think they are.
Maybe they're different penguins.
I think they're different penguins. I have a huge love for penguins. They're the coolest creature ever. So the idea of being able to go see them in their natural habitat and not having to go all the way to Antarctica, which I would still love to do one day, but that's a journey for another time. Mm-hmm. Well, I did meet a man recently who was easily in his 80s, and he's been there like 3 or 4 times by now, he says.
You know, we do want to have a travel podcast, I think, at some point, right?
Yeah, I think a travel episode will definitely be on the horizon. We'll get more into less our dream of travel and more travel as a industry.
Yeah, although we could also definitely do travel stories. We could do travel, traveling experience. Ooh, preview for future episodes.
Foreshadowing is the term you're looking for.
Yep. My words did not come to my mouth in enough time for my brain.
From the English speaker guy who did school good.
Yes. Correct. See, post-secondary education is not everything.
Exactly. Sometimes the dropout knows more than the drop in.
I did drop in.
To school?
To school.
What was that?
That was a Billy Madison impression.
Oh, man.
Great movie.
Again, recently talking about Adam Sandler with somebody. Apparently Netflix just gave him a bunch of money and said, do what you want with it.
Which is what everyone's been doing to him for the past, decade. Really.
I'm just hoping with Netflix doing it, he'll have a little more control because, again, I really enjoyed the movie Click.
And that was the last good movie or decent movie that Adam Sandler did. Nothing beats the golden trifecta of Adam Sandler movies.
What is the golden trifecta of Adam Sandler movies? Please tell me.
Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Billy Madison.
Yes.
The Waterboy.
Ooh, you're missing his best movie of all time, though.
Which?
Little Nicky.
Oh, that's true. Little Nicky was good.
So is it more of a quadfecta?
Quartet.
A quartet. A quartet of Sandlers?
A barbershop quartet.
You know that's a Family Guy bit somewhere. Like in some cutting room floor, there is an animation of 4 Adam Sandlers singing a song.
I wouldn't mind seeing Billy Madison, Bobby Boucher, and
Little Nicky
all singing together.
That'd be amazing. I only ever saw The Waterboy, actually.
Waterboy was the first Adam Sandler movie I saw because I went to go see it at one of my friend's 10th birthday party. So it was the first time I saw a quote unquote adult movie because there was swearing and nudity and stuff.
Okay.
You know what just clicked for me about that movie though? It's set in Louisiana. Okay. And it didn't hit me, but all the names of the characters are French names. One of the characters' names is Guy Grenouille, and for whatever reason that didn't click with 10-year-old me, but I'm like, oh, Louisiana, French, right.
That's actually, I wouldn't have made that connection, I think, for a while. No. Also high on my list of places to go, Louisiana.
New Orleans, specifically.
Oh my God, yeah. No, beignets for days.
Yeah.
My brother got to go there once. And,
That's cool.
Fixed the record. Every time my brother went to New Orleans with a friend of his, they road trip down there for the sole purpose of fixing a record press
Wow.
that belonged to Jack White.
Wow. They
didn't get to meet him, unfortunately, as on tour, but they got to be in his home.
That's... Jack White lives in Louisiana, in New Orleans.
Has a recording studio.
He has a recording studio.
He has a small home and a recording studio there where he presses his own vinyls, and the machine was on the fritz, and my brother's friend, both being big vinyl heads, one of them actually is a repair guy, so they went out together to go fix the machine.
That's pretty amazing.
That's pretty insane.
To be anywhere that Jack White has been.
Well, I'm sure he's been lots of places you've been. Like, he's played shows in Montreal, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure he's gone to a restaurant.
He's probably walked around Saint Laurent streets.
I guess knowing, or somewhere that belongs to him, or somewhere that's like his, like...
That's what I meant.
Being in a room and seeing his guitars on the wall.
That's what I meant. It was just somewhere, I didn't word it properly.
I know what you meant. I just wanted to poke fun at you a little bit.
It's being in Jack White's property. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
No, but actually, there's another little Nicky movie, another Adam Sandler film I have not seen yet, but I've gotten some great reviews. He did an independent film, funded it himself, as far as I know, and it was all his own work, called The Cobbler.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, I heard about it randomly through a podcast, and I was like, really? What? And I had to look into it.
How long ago did it?
I think it was like last year at Sundance or the year before. But the whole premise essentially is that he's a cobbler, and I don't know how or what exactly happens, but he ends up putting on someone else's shoes and has to walk a mile in their shoes, literally.
God. I mean,
but apparently it's really good and kind of heartfelt. It has a lot of people compare it to Click a lot. Of like, it seems like a dumb comedy, then you get like kind of the weird like, he learns about this guy and you realize that life isn't as easy just because he's a big, fancy dude.
I was not ready for that plot twist.
Yeah, no.
No one was. Like that, no one was ready for that. Everyone thought it'd be just a funny movie guy who can control time. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
hijinks. And then, oh shit, a dose of reality and an introduction to our own mortality. Thanks.
And seriously, so what I'm hoping the Netflix thing does is that it's not like Hollywood being like, here's money, make a movie, do exactly what we like that sells really good and make a new movie about you being stupid with friends. And maybe we get more of the Click or this Cobbler movie, which I'm probably going to end up watching my weekend.
Even if you go back to a Billy Madison type movie, that I'd be okay with. Bring in Rob Schneider, bring in David Spade, but make them in silly roles.
You mean every movie he's done other than Click, pretty much?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm pretty sure they both were in Click too, it's less funny roles. I can't recall very well. It has been a while since I've watched an Adam Sandler movie.
Probably for good reason, because none of them recently have been good.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry, I mean, Adam Sandler, there's that series on Netflix that came out with Adam Sandler, like Taylor Lautner, Rob Schneider, of course.
Which one's this?
Oh, I don't remember what it's called, but apparently got shitty reviews. So don't go see it. Like, don't watch it.
So we won't even look it up then. Good.
No, don't even. I'm not even honor it with a name drop. We're not gonna do that.
No, that's it. Actually, pass me another beer. Maybe that was only like 2 seconds.
Hey, I'm the beer man. Mm-hmm. Even though you bought these.
And we take turns buying to the stuff.
Yeah.
Also, like the conversation from this from earlier today, I did want to go over this a little bit. Was the fact that you texted me asking me if I had eaten yet.
Yeah.
What'd you have in mind for dinner? Do you want to cook or do you want to order in? And I was like, I'm kind of feeling lazy. We should order in. And you're like, why are we a married couple?
It's true, because I was just saying, like, I really texted you, like, are you feeling takeout or do you want to cook something? I'm like, wait, you're not my wife.
I could be. Sorry, Shannon.
And Paula,
right. Yes, I should apologize to mine first.
Yeah, I don't know,
I like the same comment. Mine's out of town. We actually had a really cute moment with some coworkers of the day. One of our coworkers, Claudio, had pulled out his phone and showing us he's an app on his phone where he's counting down the days until his girlfriend's back in town.
Oh, God.
And then even used, I can't remember what app he'd used, or I think in messages she had sent location so he could see how far away she was. So then another coworker of ours, Yaya, goes, I can beat that, and pulls up location. His girlfriend's in California. And I'm like, I can't track location now because Alaska doesn't have good internet, but Alaska. And they both turn to me and go, you win, your wife's the furthest. But she's back soon. I heard from her finally. She's doing okay. She's up whale watching right now.
I wish I could be whale watching.
I've never seen a whale. We thought we almost did when we were in Hawaii on our cruise.
I feel like once you've seen a whale, you've seen them all.
What? That's a weird expression to start. Is that whalesist?
I just feel like, how many whales can you watch?
I feel like different whales are, differently. I mean, like if you see an orca versus seeing a like a beluga or a great white kind of thing, they're all gonna be a little different.
Shark.
What?
Shark.
Shark?
As opposed to a whale. I don't know my large mammals.
Sharks aren't mammals, but whales are. But yeah, good. Let's just veer off the subject completely because I seem to have lost you in whales. You're like Pinocchio, just lost you in a whale.
You mean Jonah? The biblical guy? The guy who gets swallowed by a whale and ran to the end and...
I know of the Jonah and a whale story, but I was going to go with Pinocchio, who also gets eaten by a whale.
Oh, I haven't seen Pinocchio in a long time.
It has been a while. I always preferred... I had on VHS as a kid, I guess it was a sequel to Pinocchio, but it was Pinocchio in space. But it was the same plot. He gets eaten by a space whale.
Did Disney make this?
I don't know if it was official. I feel like Pinocchio is one of those series where even like several years ago when we were kids, it was still old enough that it was like open to anyone to use creatively. But it was Astro, the space whale.
Why would he be hungry?
I don't know.
Why would he want...
I can't... All I can remember is the beginning of the movie, and it's the scene of him going to school, and I always found really interesting was he didn't have a bag for his books, he had a belt for his books.
A book belt?
He just put a belt around his books and then carried the end of the strap over his shoulder.
Oh, I think that's how people did it back in the day.
Which I guess is a thing, and I always found really intriguing. And then I know there's the bit where they're on the moon and learning to jump in zero gravity. And then they encounter a planet that is like spewing smoke out, and they realize it's not smoke, it's air, and it's Astro the space whale, and they get eaten by it. I don't know how he gets from school to space. I greatly do not recall this series, but I am going to say Pinocchio in Space was a great movie in my childhood.
Oh, God. It's interesting that you remember Space Pinocchio more than the actual Pinocchio. Like,
I recall actual Pinocchio, too. But as a kid, I was like... Oh, boring puppet goes to circus, becomes donkey, which is really incredibly weird and trippy. Or little wooden boy goes to space and he's eaten by whale.
Little wooden boy. Do you think,
Do I think what?
Do you think if Pinocchio tells a lie in space, his nose still grows?
But I feel like it'd be one of those things where he would grow, it would push him as far back as it grew, it'd always be equal distance kind of thing, it'd be a midpoint.
And then what if he... I don't even know what I'm about to say.
I don't know where you're going.
Something about black holes. Will it compress his nose if he lies while he's in a black hole?
Ooh, a wall going into, but once you're in the black hole, you're already kind of insignificant dot.
Yeah.
Fucked, yeah, better word. But yes, I really don't know. I really, genuinely, if any of you are astrophysicists, or Neil deGrasse Tyson more specifically, and want to discuss Pinocchio with us, let us know.
Neil, if you're listening, man, thanks for your support.
That's our celebrity shout out of the day. Every episode we'll ask a random celebrity if they're listening, and if we catch one, bingo, they win.
They win.
So
nothing.
They win a spot on our show.
Yeah.
They get invited out to our show.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
And then you call it the next celebrity.
Yeah, you call it. And then they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends.
By the end of the day, 4 people have heard about us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4.
Is that a Futurama joke somewhere? Like
yeah,
that?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's from Futurama.
I hear Fry.
4 people.
That, honestly, can we discuss real quick before we get into our subject for the day? Futurama was one of the greatest TV shows.
Yes. It got canceled and renewed so many times, but...
And it was just... Every time was just genuinely amazing.
It was a fun show. Great characters.
That's it. Great characters, great plots, great stories. And I mean, they weren't afraid to get a little more than just stupid comedy. Mm-hmm. I mean, the common examples of Fry's dog or Fry's brother.
Oh, God. I still can't watch the Fry's dog episode.
I know, it's tough.
I mean, Fry's brother, tough. I can do a little more.
It's still incredibly sad, despite the way they end it.
That's a happier one, though, still. Mm-hmm. Because, like, Fry's dog is just sad. It ends on a sad note. Please, like, go watch it and then, like, have a good cry.
Seriously, like, I like the jokes we made a while back, which is the, like, in the future when we're really worried about robots, instead of having that stupid, like, type in these weird characters that are really blurry and hard to see thing to prove you're a human, those CAPTCHAs, it'll be just watch that episode, and if you cry, you're allowed to go in. If you don't cry, you're a robot, get out.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way. It's the only way.
I think so.
Oh, my God. I guess on the subject of crying over cartoon dogs.
Speaking of which,
Actually, I guess it kind of does work because that episode's about waiting.
it is about waiting.
That's it. We found our link. In the episode, his dog is waiting. And speaking of which, our subject today is
Punctuality.
being on time or timing in general.
Being on time or timing in general. I actually chose this topic this week.
You did. So before we dig into it, I'm curious to know what sparked it.
There's no incident in particular that sparked it. It's something that's been, like, I feel very strongly about. And I don't remember when we added it to our list of subjects. I think I might have just added it as, like, my initial blitz of things. That
I think so. I think you had that initial list of, like, 9 or 10 things that was on there.
Yeah. And, no, punctuality for me has always been a big, big thing. And, like, I always have my opinion is that I think one tweet that I saw maybe a year or two ago that has rang true, and I want to know your thoughts on it too, is never apologize for being late with a Starbucks latte in your hand.
I agree completely. I feel like the workaround, though, is if you have 2 of them.
That's excusable depending on how late you are.
That's it. Like, I mean, if someone showed up to me, like, an hour late and was like, oh, I'm so sorry, and had their 2 coffees, I'd be like, really, dude? But at the same time, I mean, I can't name times I've been late and had a coffee with me, but I've had those times where you get to where you're going on time and grab the coffees, and then something between the coffee and there makes you late.
Yes.
I guess is a possibility, but still.
It's tough to say. I mean, no, I believe that punctuality is a very underrated trait these days, because now it's become hip. It's become cool. If a party starts at 9, I'm going to show up at 10:30, which I actually don't have too much of a problem with. But when that carries over into other commitments, in the sense that it's not a party, I'm meeting you for lunch.
Yeah, then
we are meeting at noon, you show up at 12:30. That to me is a total disregard for my time and a prioritization of your time over mine.
No, and that's definitely a good way to look at it. I mean, my logic is, and I'm the kind of person, I don't have a car right now, I don't have a driver's license, that's coming. I take the bus everywhere. I check a bus schedule and it says, okay, yeah, you should roughly, I use Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever service I'm using. And it says, okay, what time do you want to arrive by? I naturally put it like 10 minutes early just to be safe. And even then, if it gives me the option of like, oh, you can get there, let's say I'm in for like a 9 o'clock shift at work, you can get there for like 10 to 9 or like 10 after 8. I'm going to go for 10 after 8 because I'd rather be there really early and not make someone wait for me. That's true for both my job, meeting people. I mean, I have plans to go get sushi with someone tomorrow. I'm going to get there a good 15 minutes early at the minimum just because I hate making someone wait. I believe it's my father who really instilled this in me. My father is the most impatient person on the planet.
Yeah.
He's like, hey,
I'm not saying, I don't know your dad, so I'm just...
I don't know, but I think even fathers in general, I think our generation above us was very big on timeliness.
That's it. And I'm not one of those people to be big on like, oh, back in the day, people did this, people did that. Like, I don't have an issue with people dressing how they want, people say, like the whole thing on slang. I was big on the whole slang thing. Mm-hmm. I was big on like the evolution of language. The evolution of how we approach timeliness, that I'm not okay with.
Yeah, I'm okay again with what you said, being late to a party. Like, if someone says a party is for 10, I'll usually aim to be there at 10, not minding if I'm a few minutes later or a few minutes early.
Yeah.
And again, if it's someone I really know, like our buddy Stu just had a party this weekend that I invited you to, and I think it was called for 6. I only got out of work at like 6, and we went to grab like a few beers first and a few things to get there.
Yeah.
But we didn't feel bad.
No.
Because we figured it's a bar, he's probably just setting up or just getting things ready. We got there and there were already like 4 people there already anyways.
Yeah.
And actually one person had gotten there a bit early with the plans to help him cook, which was really cute.
Yeah.
So I wasn't super worried about that. But if I said, hey Ryan, I'm going to meet you for lunch tomorrow, 4 o'clock, I would expect to either get there at like 3:50 and bump into you, or get there at like 3:30 and have you bump into me at like 3:50. Like I wouldn't be like upset if you were a few minutes late.
Yeah.
but I expect it.
There's definitely a certain period of time that is acceptable, like finding parking or maybe hit a couple traffic lights, unforeseen circumstances. You get a small window. And as much as there's no texting and driving, you don't want to do that. Keep the person posted. If you are really, if something crazy happens, car accident right in front of you, whatever, say, it's courteous to send a text. That is unforeseen. That you can't necessarily always insure
I'm still
against.
a little weird on that one, too. I mean, Paula's one, too, to never text and drive, and good for her. But at the same time, like, we all have smartphones these days. How many of us can, using our phone without hands, use Siri or Google to, hey, Siri, quickly message so-and-so. I may have just started, okay, no, she didn't hear me good. I was like, no. But, like, just to go, like, hey, whatever service, let so-and-so know I'll be a few minutes late. Most people will get it. Like, a quick message saying, sorry, I'm going to be a few minutes late.
It's the fact that you took the time to message or big idea here, your phone is actually a phone, and I have hands-free in my car. I might not be able to text with my voice as easily, but I can definitely call.
Yeah, 100%.
The idea that I took the time to text or call or say, hey, listen, this came up very quickly or unforeseen on my way, that still shows more of a respect for the other person's time than just setting something for 4 o'clock and showing up at 4:15.
No, 100%. I mean, even getting to work some mornings, I'll catch the slightly later bus because I was lazy. Did you just miss your mouth with a beer?
No.
Little beer in the beard?
Little beer in the beard.
Little beard beer?
Worst things have happened to the beard.
I'm sure. Not going to ask, but I'm sure. I've had beards, I know. Nope, not going there.
Go on.
But no, even going to work, I'm on the bus. I know the route fairly well. I know that if at whatever location, whatever time, I'm not at a certain point, at a certain time, I'm likely going to wind up calling work and saying, hey, on the bus, I'm maybe like 10 minutes away. My shift starts in 6 minutes. I'm going to be 4 minutes late.
Yeah.
Just the wherewithal to know that.
Yeah, the fact that you bring in work is a good thing. Is that biggest example is a job interview. Mm-hmm. Where a job interview, if you're 10 minutes early, you're on time. If you're 5 minutes early, or if you're on time, you're 10 minutes late.
I mean, to quote work, early is the new on time. But at the same time, it is. I don't mind people being late. I'm very, very forgiving of it. I have been stood up waiting somewhere for someone.
Have you been stood up?
Stood up like entirely, they didn't show up. Maybe I think one time maybe ever it happened.
On a date or just on meeting somebody?
Just meeting someone, never on a date. Dates. I haven't really done dating very much, honestly.
Really?
I mean,
go on with your story and we can...
that's it. But I don't mind when being late. It doesn't bother me. I dislike being late because I feel like it really makes the other person wait around. And I was saying before, it's very instilled in me by my father. My father's the kind of person where it's like, hey, I'm offering someone a ride. When I pull up at your front door, you should be outside waiting for me.
Yes.
And that's why we're bugged the most. I don't even drive, but I've had those times where I've gone with a friend to pick someone else up. And you're quick text, hey, we're a block away.
That's it.
We're a block away should mean be outside, jump in the car. And even, I don't know why that's the one that gets me, but I've had it before where we pull up somewhere and text, hey, we're here. Nothing. You're almost ready? Nothing. What does it take to send a quick text? You texted me today saying, hey, I'm here. My building, when you ring the buzzer, goes to my girlfriend's phone, who's in Alaska. Kind of useless right now. So I said, hey, just text me when you're here. That's what I tell most of my friends to do when Paul's not around or not home for it. And I get a text saying, hey, I'm here. I don't care what the fuck I'm doing. I stop and I go downstairs. And I've had it happen before where this might take an actually, they texted a bit early because they were just getting off the highway and they're actually 3 minutes, 3 minutes I'll sit downstairs.
Yeah.
Actually, really fun one recently. My father texted me saying, hey, what's up? I can't remember when he needed it exactly, but can I come see you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm just having lunch at home. Come on over. And 10 minutes later, I got a text from him. Hey, I'm here. And I was like, cool, I'll come down and meet you. And I think I sat downstairs for 12 fucking minutes.
12 minutes.
And I'm like, that's...
It feels like you counted when you weren't that specific.
I don't know. I think 12 was the number I went for.
Okay.
I don't know why I went for that number. But I mean, it was a while. 10 minutes I can say is okay. 20 is I should have stopped at some point. But 12 was I'm concerned now. My father, who's super punctual, being 12 minutes later than he thought he was going to be. Like, I get the I'm here, and reality, you're like a block or two away still. And then finally, my father texted me. He thought I was at work, not at home. But at the same time, like, you couldn't have texted me that sooner. You couldn't have gotten to my job in the mall and said, hey, where's Drew? And they go, he's not working today. And turned around and said, oh, haha, how funny. No, he just, like, waited. I texted him, like, 5 more times being like, where the hell are you?
Yeah. No, I had something I was going to add to that. I don't remember anymore.
I apologize.
It's not you. I think it's just thoughts come and go a little bit every now and then. But, dates.
Dates, right.
You haven't done a lot of dating, you said.
True. So, historically, my relationships have been 4.5-year long-term relationship starting in high school, ending in college. Another 9-month long relationship that started, like, maybe 9 months after the last relationship ended. And then, again, right into my current relationship. Like, I'm a serial dater. A serial monogamous was the term we used. I cannot be single for long enough. Like, yes, I had my time between those dates, those relationships, and yes, they were fun and all that shit, but I pretty much went from one to the next and never had anything that was really a date.
Okay, because I was going to ask you, what is the longest you've waited for someone on a date?
I mean, there was the one time before dating Paula after the previous ex where I did use Plenty of Fish for dating, and I did meet one person off that site.
Okay.
And again, mostly my own fault.
Right.
I went stupid early.
Okay.
And they were maybe 15, 20 minutes late, honestly.
Okay.
Which I don't feel is bad. I feel under 20 is my limit of, like, I understand. 30, I expect, like, I'm sorry, something came up, a reason, or at least an apology. Over 30, I'd probably wait an hour, and at the hour mark, I'd be like, I haven't heard a thing, I have no idea, I'm assuming this is over, I'm bailing.
Yeah.
More importantly, you seem really interested in asking me this question. What is your story? Because I feel like there's a story here.
The longest I waited on a date was 50 minutes. 50.
Okay, not as bad as I expected. I'd like to hear the context, though.
I've never been stood up, but the longest I had to wait was...
Oh, 50. So they showed up, though.
They did show up.
Okay.
So this was a first date. It was the only date, actually. Not because of the lateness, but there's other things there. We're not going to get into that.
Oh, yeah. Mine, too, by the way, was an only date, so...
There you go. Pretty much what happened is we were meeting at Cunningham's, a bar out west.
Local watering hole.
Local watering hole. And I get there, and I'm like, hey, I'm here. I text her, hey, I'm here. She texts me back a few minutes later. Oh, hey, I was hanging out with my mom. I'm still at home, and she lives on the South Shore, and there's a snowstorm out. So I'm like, I'm going to be here a little while. Thankfully, there was a Habs game on, so I just grab a beer, whatever.
Yeah, it's a good bar to be stuck in, but still.
I'm trying to be understanding. I also wasn't as confident, I guess, in myself, so I sort of let it just pass. And because it was a snowstorm, there were like 2 other people in the bar. So it was very, very obvious I was there for a date.
Ugh.
And it was very obvious that, or at least the bartenders, they definitely thought I was being stood up. So they kept checking in, like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Oh, that's so sad.
Anyway, she did show up. It was an interesting date. I never saw her again. And that's that. This is a year and a half ago. So this is a long time ago.
And that's one of those examples. Being late with an excuse that is like, really, that's your excuse? Like, yes. I forgot to leave? Like, really?
That's it. It was like, there's a snowstorm. I'm stuck. I'd be understanding. If I were where I am now, if my confidence in someone told me, I forgot that this was happening, I'm like, don't bother. I would have probably left in that case.
I had that happen once, though. I had a friend of mine who we had made plans like a week in advance to get together for brunch at my place. Mm-hmm. I prepared everything. And she's like, she'll be here for noon. Noon, I send her a message, nothing. Okay, whatever, just running a little late. By 1 o'clock, she finally gets back to me. She goes, I totally forgot we had plans. Didn't check my phone. I'm so sorry. But again, it was my own place. It wasn't like I was like waiting in a bar somewhere for her. It was sitting at home with bacon in the oven and fresh pancake batter on the table.
There you go.
So I just texted a few friends being like, who's free, who wants pancakes? 2 people showed up like that. It was great.
Yeah.
At 2 o'clock, we were eating pancakes and bacon in my living room.
Definitely a bit of a different situation. I'm gonna read some of it. Like, we should maybe look at some.
Yeah, I
of
would say I mean, I hate to be behind the scenes, but this week wasn't the most active of responses, which I joked about everyone's punctuality. They were making a comment to us, being like,
yeah, everyone's
"Look
gonna
how
comment.
non-punctual we
Everyone's
are."
gonna comment tomorrow.
I'm so sorry. I was totally meant to.
Good.
I was caught at work all day.
Good joke, everyone.
Everyone. Hilarious.
But I want to comment. I want to bring up a comment from... How long ago was this? There it is. From our friend Drew. Not to be confused with you.
I was going to say, I'm like, but I'm Drew.
There's other Drews. Hater. We can also call him Hater. That's what he's known as.
Does he go by Drew ever, though?
Yeah, people call him Drew.
I've never heard him called anything other than Andrew.
Yeah,
Funny.
people call him Drew. Hater. We can do...
Yeah, Hater. I know him as that. It's his handle, yeah.
Yeah. So, he writes, lateness. Only acceptable under extreme conditions. Always prepare to be 15 minutes early.
And that's it, too. A lot of the conversation I've had, I mean, I was at that party the other night, and I did bring up the podcast to some strangers. We were on podcasts.
Nice. Always be networking.
Always be networking. ABN.
I don't think that's a thing.
It is now.
Woo!
Woo! Things we started. And again, consensus from the group about being punctual was very much that I always try to be there 15 minutes early. Or, like, I forgive people up to 15 appears to be the magic number.
Yeah.
If there were a lesson, if our podcast had, like, a moral at the end, it would be 15 minutes early is the right thing to do. And 15 minutes late is annoying but acceptable.
Yeah, so I think if you're within that, you're good. Mm-hmm. Anything before or after, please send a text or a phone call.
And that's it. And I feel like the environment changes a bit too. Like, a date is one where you don't want to be late. That's just
I would say date, job interview,
work in general.
Something.
Like, somewhere I've gone and I've been, I don't want to say I was stood up because it wasn't a date, but I've been stuck waiting the longest.
Yeah.
Comic-Con. Don't even ask how it came up, but going to Comic-Con and meeting with people very often was, we'll meet like around 9ish when it opens, and we wouldn't actually meet up till like 10, but we'd both been there since like 9:30 and just couldn't find each other because it's a mess.
Yeah.
I feel like those kind of like huge public events, like a concert also.
That's a little more...
Like, concert has a start date, it's a little different, but like if we were both like, oh hey, we're at the same venue, let's meet up this place this time. It's crazier, it's wild, there's things to do, you're not stuck doing nothing.
Yes.
Not as bad. So I think it really depends on the environment.
Yes.
And the person. Again, like if I was meeting someone on a date at a concert, I'd be there early. But if I were just meeting...
I would be somewhere where I can be seen.
And wearing a funny hat so I'd stand out.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that's like, if we can give you 2 pro tips for today, it's be on time, 15 minutes early is always better, and wear a funny hat on your dates.
Yeah.
I think that's the moral of today's episode.
Yeah, going back to audience comments or audience fan comments. Mm-hmm. Shannon and I were talking about this as well. How sometimes being late is a religious / nationality thing. So it's commonly known as Italian time or Jewish time.
Jewish time. And I've also heard it as Haitian time.
Haitian time, yeah. So any of these cultures where...
I'm laughing. I think it's all cultures use it as an excuse at this point then.
Probably,
I think we're figuring out now. It's every culture's always late and they go, oh, it's because I'm Jewish, I'm allowed to be.
That's it. So the fact that people are excusing it by like, this is who I am, I don't know. Like, the common consensus that Shannon and I got to is that, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with what you are born into. You're just being inconsiderate.
And using an excuse. No, I agree. As much as we were joking, it's true. I feel the more annoying thing is the Jewish goodbye, though. And we talked this one before.
Goodbye, yes.
The Jewish goodbye, or how most people would leave without saying goodbye. Jews say goodbye without leaving.
Yeah.
And we have a friend of ours, Sasha, who's very famous for this. I think I can say goodbye to Sasha 3 times before he actually leaves sometimes.
Yeah.
Just because he'll make the rounds and see you again and make the round again because he's been there long enough that it's like, it doesn't count anymore the last goodbye, and it's like...
Or he forgot somebody.
Oh yeah, love him to death, but my god, I've seen people do it, it's hilarious. I mean, the number of times I've gone with a group out somewhere, and we all say our goodbyes, and we walk like to the door, chat up again, say goodbye, get to the lobby of the restaurant, of the apartment we're in, talk again, say goodbye, get to the parking lot. It can go on for days.
Oh yeah.
I have legitimately, I think it was Jack Astor's one time, the table, the lobby, holding the door for each other, and then in the middle of the parking lot. Each one was at least a 15 to 30 minute conversation. ending with goodbyes and then split and then meeting up again. Like, it is a joke saying goodbye sometimes.
Yeah. Whenever there's a family get together, my siblings and my dad and I will go wait in the car until my mom goes and says goodbye to everybody. And yeah, I love my mom, of course, but she cannot say goodbye as efficiently as the rest of the family.
I think also I'm just a man thing.
Maybe.
I feel like men, it's just like a, hey, room, I'm done, night,
Or
and out.
honestly, you leave.
Yeah.
You just leave. And
Which I've also heard is the Irish goodbye, which is the just leaving all of a sudden and messaging like later.
Okay, that I never heard of.
Oh, it happened to me the other day too at that same party I was at. That party was a great example where I had like, I was always making sure to say goodbye to people as they were leaving, giving hugs. And one friend like just abruptly left. Like she'd hitched a ride last minute with someone else kind of thing, so she didn't have a chance to say goodbyes.
Yes.
Which I think is very polite if you're being offered a ride to just...
For sure.
Like, oh, can I get a ride home? Cool. Can we like 30 minutes say goodbye to everyone? No, she was like...
I like that. Does anyone sound like that?
Yes, the fictional voice in my head sounds just like that at all times. All my thoughts sound like that. You don't know that. Do yours not?
No, mine are more loud and banging and such.
I imagine yours would be a leprechaun for some reason, even though you're not Irish.
Oh, hey there, you know how we do.
A Newfoundlander, a leprechaun, clearly.
Yes, a Newfie leprechaun.
I was like, for the audience listening, that was not a leprechaun, that was a Newfie. Newfies aren't all leprechauns, fun fact. But pretty similar, they're small and magical. I've heard good things. No, but this person had just like, again, I'd actually brought this person to the party, like as on a whim, and then they left with another friend without saying goodbye because I knew that person had already said goodbye, so they were like, I'm not going to make you wait around, I'm just going to bolt with you because it's a free ride home.
Yeah.
And then I texted later being like, oh, I never saw you. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, goodbye and good night. And I'm like, that's nice of you still, but like, I would have liked to actually say goodbye to you properly. Like, I was worried for a minute.
Well, for me, like, for example, if I'm at a party and I'm leaving, I will at least say goodbye to the host. That's the bare minimum.
Yeah, there's always the occasional friend you want to see. Like, there's a few people I always want to selectively say goodbye to, but...
Maybe someone I haven't seen in a little while and I don't know when I'm going to see them again.
Yeah, especially,
If it's someone, let's say someone who I work with, I know I'm going to see them within a couple days. I didn't see them that long ago. I can get away with not saying goodbye to them.
That is valid. I did want to bring up another quote, a text we got, our buddy Stu. And I kind of like this too, in the punctuality is important. It's something we definitely, in our life and in our society, need to think about. But I also kind of like, he pulled up a quote from Lord of the Rings, actually.
Of course he did.
Of course Stu did. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives exactly when he intends to. And, I mean, I guess by today's standards, it's kind of a hard thing to wrap your head around, because when you're meant to be somewhere on time, you're supposed to be. But I like it kind of more from the philosophical standpoint of, like, if you were meant to be late, there was, like, kind of the whole, like, everything happens for a reason thing you always hear.
Yeah.
That you show up when you were meant to show up, and maybe there's a better reason for it. Like, you know, you were late to this date, and the date went poorly because of it, but maybe that wasn't the date you were supposed to be on.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
That's it.